less than half an hour to go here. Oh, it's gone through the wall and it's in! It might have been directly in from the corner from Bukayo Saka!
Talking of blue and red, Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. One moment was all the difference in some ways in Sunday's first London derby. Chelsea switching off on a 63rd minute corner. Bizarre, and allowing a Bukayo Saka in-swinger to curl all the way to the back post untouched, inviting big Gabriel to tow home for the 9th goal in his Premier League career, all of which have come from corners. The result sent Arsenal back top by 2 points over City, while Graham Potter's Chelsea sit in 7th, one spot behind his old flame Brighton on goal difference.
Massive game for both sides. Arsenal desperate to reclaim their Iron Throne as top of the table. Arsenal, and incredibly, since that Old Trafford 3-1 defeat on the 4th of September, that was their only loss in the league campaign so far. They've already beaten Spurs. They'd already beaten Liverpool. This shaped up to be the possibility of another massive statement of title-winning intent. But for Graham Potter, limping in after that Spider-Man homecoming of a return to the Amex, 11 games in, string of overall positive results despite the lack of coherent sense of strategy and tactics and, goals. Yes, grappling with a raft of injuries, including now Ben Chilwell. He unleashed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang against his old club. 3 goals in 11 appearances since his return to English football, and one salty pre-match video for BT Sports in which he taunted Arsenal. Nothing personal. I'm back and I'm blue.
Arsenal, nothing personal. I'm back. I'm blue. I'm ready.
Davo, when you watch that as a Chelsea fan, were you like, yes? Or were you like, Oba? Did you just hand Arteta the pre-match hype video, which, paired with a couple of artful doodles and awkwardly self-aware uses of the F word, may well sink your team?
I mean, who knows who had inspired him? I think Chelsea have bigger problems than Oba's video. But what was the possible upside? I mean, what was the point of that? I'm less concerned with the downside and just what was the possible upside. Was that really the energy he should have been putting into preparing for this weekend's game?
Do you think Oba's agent is like, hey, Oba, you ready for a dick move? Yeah, let's do it. I think what's the energy? It's just like dick move. That's what it was. And whatever it was, and whatever Arteta said to his boys, Arsenal began purring down both flanks, running at Cucurella as if he was the son of David Luiz. Chances created, chances not taken. Ben White missing a pair early on as Chelsea just battled to try and comprehend Arsenal's angles and motion. A lot of Arsenal control, a lot of possession, a lot of range finding. A Jesus diving header from close range. We don't need him to score the goals. He's just there to create. But Arsenal, Davo, they honestly look like the home team for much of this one.
Yeah, I mean, this was a 1-0 demolition. Arsenal just... and we've spoken a lot about the Arsenal-Chelsea fixture over the years. I'm not sure we've ever, in the Men in Blazers era, had a game in which Arsenal dominated, even some of their wins, where Arsenal just dominated central midfield to that extent. And that's really where they won the game. Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek, unable to get anything going, unable to feed any of their front players. However many players Graham Potter tried to pack back into that midfield, didn't seem to make any difference. Chelsea definitely shorn of speed on the flanks with, Chilwell and Reece James both out to injury. Cucurella not really looking like worth the money that we paid for from Brighton for him. And on the other flank, Dave, doing his best, trying gamely, but he's not that kind of he's not a Premier League quality in terms of speed right back.
Chelsea, so disjointed going forward. Oba, frustrated, took lumps out of Ben White, got a yellow. Arsenal fans started to sing, Mikel Arteta, he thinks that you're crap. Arsenal, so solid defensively. Partey, just a stellar defensive shield. Again, Raz Sterling, they're in name, but not in ability to influence the game. The whole Chelsea team, just 2 goals in the last 4 league games, 1 shot on target in this one. Really, the constipation, Davo, a trait from Potter's Brighton that he's brought over, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, Arsenal didn't have a lot of shots on target either. This was not that kind of a game. And Chelsea, I thought, defended, gamely and bravely for much of the game. But in central midfield, they just couldn't get time on the ball. And, it's hard to even criticise, Raz or Havertz or Mount or anybody else playing up front for most of the game because they just got no service. There was nothing happening. That's how dominant Arsenal were in midfield.
And then the moment, Arsenal, honestly, their corners have been pretty poor all bloody day. Flat, easily cut outable by the first man. And Saka appeared to have done it again in the 63rd minute. But Chelsea didn't cut out the wicked curl of a low trajectory, a floundering Jorginho, Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva. The ball kept flying onwards until Gabriel touched home on the line, even though it was probably going in anyway. Really atrocious defending from Chelsea. Fundamentally terrible defending, Dave. Whether it was Saka's goal or Gabriel's, only thing for sure, it was Pulisic's fault, right? He needs to do better.
Yeah, I mean, I learned this in sort of intramural defending at university, Rog, is that you never allow a corner kick to hit the ground as a defensive player. And so just that Kai missed it at the front post, that nobody else covered. That was just a terrible error and a terrible way to concede a goal.
Yeah, Chelsea reacted. 64th minute, immediately 2 subs. Broha and Conor Gallagher replaced Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Old Oba, so anonymous. Kai Havertz left 2. Oba's took to the bench. And if you're listening to this podcast, he had just 6 touches more than you in the entire game. Sat there on the bench, looking shell-shocked. What's that old Jamie Vardy football saying, Davo? Is it chat shit, bang yourself? Or is it chat shit, own yourself?
I can't remember. I think it's chat shit, get banged. Make an entire promo of shit and you get really banged.
I mean, I've got to say, I was watching that and I was just like, what a buffoon, what a distraction. But what a validating feeling it must have been for Mikel Arteta post-game. Not just to beat Chelsea, but for Oba to humiliate himself in the process. With the same traits, the vanity, the self-importance, self before team, that Arteta, if you've watched All or Nothing, would not stand for. Even to Arteta's credit, as he kept his mouth publicly pretty well shut about most of the behind the scenes. He withstood prolonged and withering attacks from the likes of Know Nothing's Piers Morgan at the time. This must have felt like sweet vindication, sweet revenge, making Chelsea look utterly impotent, bar a couple of Conor Gallagher flash danger crosses fleetingly. But that was shocking more than anything, Dave. How little threat Chelsea mounted. Yeah,
I mean, Chelsea were appalling, really appalling. That was one of the more, I mean, it was terrible losing last weekend 4-1 at Brighton. This was, this weekend, this is a team shorn of confidence. I'm not sure, Chelsea have always been a team with such a great spine. I'm not sure that I remember a game against a London rival in which they showed so little fight or willingness to contest in midfield. It was just an odd performance, and Potter has got some things to figure out really fast.
Yeah, we talked on this podcast before about how Carlo Ancelotti said that when he lost at Chelsea, he'd get a text from Roman Abramovich with just a single terrifying question mark. And what do you imagine Todd Burley is texting Graham Potter post-game?
I imagine that when they win, he gets multiple dollar signs. When they draw, he gets less dollar signs. When they lose, maybe just $1 sign. Maybe he gets a euro. Maybe it's just a euro he gets. That's how bad it is. Or a pound.
I mean, luckily for Graham Potter, I do imagine that Todd Burley's too busy organising the first Premier League All-Star game to be held at MLB Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa. Stay with me, guys. It's going to be great. I'm going to book Kevin Costner to throw out the first pitch. Honestly, I bet in this one, Burley was just furious that, in his mind, not only did Kroenke's LA Rams just beat my LA Dodgers, but what makes me furious, Graham Potter, is that we were no hit. We were no hit. We got to get more men on base, Potter, right?
Yeah. I have no idea. I wish that we could hear those conversations. Just please, BT or whoever O2, whoever's doing it, just please leak. Please record and leak just one of those conversations between owner and manager. That would give us content for years.
I'd love it. I'd love it. Like, I can imagine Burley being like, guys, we didn't get the point, but I've had a new idea. Double the revenue lines. Let's sue every Chelsea fan who has a Chelsea tattoo on their belly for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Guys, lawyer up! Giddy up!
Woohoo! Woohoo! I love it.
I do feel for Potter. I really do. It's so hard to take a squad that's not yours, that's not fit for purpose mid-season, and play the kind of football that you want to play, that you expect to play. Look, I mean, Tuchel did it. I almost admire Tuchel's start all the more watching Potter, who I think is a very good manager. What Tuchel did, alchemy. But it is going to be a real achievement if this new Chelsea manager can lead this team to the top 4 this season.
Yeah, not playing well, Rog, and a lot of these players who are hoping to go to the World Cup, they've already watched 2 of their teammates, Chilwell out, Reece James, I would say 50-50 to go and make it. It's a very tough time to motivate a group of highly paid professional footballers, I would say.
Arsenal back top of the table. Fantastic team performance. First Big 6 away win of the season. Magnificent to witness. Not just beating the big teams now, but shucking the weight of their recent history. Really redefining the stereotype of themselves as a lightweight team. You could kick off the ball or muck with their heads in the process. Really, dear listeners, proof any of us can change anything. And they are now 2 points ahead of Manchester City. They've won 34 points off a possible 39. Incredible. Saliba, so excellent at the back. Another clean sheet. They head to Wolves before the World Cup break. And I adore watching them. I think so many of our listeners, objectively, Arsenal are the team that they savour the football of. And this is an incredible stat, Dave. Most points at this stage of their season in their 100-plus year history. And only one team with this many points, 34, at this stage of the season, Newcastle, has failed to win the title. How do you handicap their prospects?
Yeah, I mean, look, statistically now, it is Arsenal's title to lose based on how well they're playing. And yet, Manchester City are still a terrifying opponent and terrifying competition going to the end of the year. I think you're so right about, how inspiring the way they play is. For me, you then fuse onto that what has been missing at Arsenal for years and years and years, which is that strength in central midfield, that willingness to go and challenge for the ball, to pick up loose balls, to sort of fight really hard. Some of the dark arts also, dark arts are unfortunately necessary in this game to end up winning titles. And so I really salute everything that Arteta has done and everything this group of young men are doing to force themselves and keep themselves on top of the table.
Can they win? Look, this is a wild card of a season. The World Cup break in November never happened before. It's a break in narrative, a break in form, a break in momentum, a break in everything. And we don't know how it will impact focus, just collective interplay, the injuries that will result. But it could also offer Arsenal, who have a relatively thin squad, a much needed break to regather and re-energise. But the only thing we know for sure is that it's bloody amazing to be an Arsenal fan right now. And whatever happens, isn't that incredible? That Arsenal fans are feeling happy, that the club
experiencing joy,
feels unified, that the locker room is having a laugh. Gabriel going on social media, punking over with his nothing personal tweet post-game. Just everything Arsenal is coming up roses. It's magnificent. Reminds me of the Chicago Bears in 1985. Perpetual self-sabotagers who suddenly turned to glorious, just a collective fist, winners. Proof that everyone can change. You can be what you want to be. And that's what Arteta's achieved. 150 games in charge. He's 189 of them, most by any manager in the history of that club. And that's his most incredible achievement to me. Less the victories, which is unbelievable, but it's the true cultural change that he's engendered. That's inspirational. I don't think a weekend can get any better than this one for Arsenal fans. Win against Chelsea. Old flame Unai Emery's back to beat United. Oh, and Spurs lose. Just savour every second, Arsenal fans. Listen to the full version of this podcast and all our podcasts wherever you get your pods. But first, subscribe here for more Men in Blazers videos. And courage.